Huzzah, Rangers! This is Phil Harris here at the Jacks Rangers Show. I am here with my good buddy from the New England Free Jacks. His name is Thomas Grant. We call him Wills. Wills, how the hell are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, Phil. That was a hell of a chug out of that trophy as well. Very, very impressive form. It's good to see.
Appreciate that, man. When you've got Spider, being your hype man in the background, it's pretty easy to put him back. You know what I mean? And especially when you're
Yeah,
drinking out of the Eastern Conference trophy there, the cup. It was quite an honor to do that. I'm really, really happy that we were able to get that on film. And that's going to be the intro all off season long. I think we've continued to use it. So I think it's just a tradition now is, for the rest of the off season, we're going to continue to use that one. So yeah.
it's good. Maybe we can get you doing a wee chug off the shield as well, although it's quite difficult.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is a bit difficult, but totally worth it for sure. Let's talk about, because I know that you've been on the show last year, but I wanted to get people that may not have seen that episode familiar with yourself. So give us a quick rundown of your personal and rugby background, please.
Yeah, for sure. So born and raised in Dunedin, New Zealand, which is where our famous general manager Tom Kindly is from. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, really beautiful part of the world. I went to Otago Boys High School, as most New Zealand kids do at a small age. They fall in love with the game of rugby.
Mhm.
Was never a great player, and then probably realised that at at high school. So decided to go down the operational path of things, and got involved with managing the high school teams and things like that, and was fortunate enough to pick up a little bit of a gig with Otago Rugby, and
Yep.
sort of one thing led to another, and after a few years under my belt there, TK reached out to me, and now I'm in New England, and a part of an awesome family and an awesome organization. So yeah, you're right. I was on the show last year, and it seems like yesterday.
Right. Yeah,
Time's flowing on by. Yeah,
absolutely.
super grateful to be here. It's an awesome place.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy that you're able to be a part of the Free Jacks organization. I think you do a fantastic job. We're going to get into that a little bit later on about what you specifically do now for the Free Jacks. But I wanted to, what's your official title with them? And I know you have that connection with TK. How did that job opportunity actually come about specifically?
Yeah, so back at Tiger Rugby, I was sort of running the community rugby side of things, which
Mhm.
I'm extremely passionate about, the community game. And basically, TK reached out and sort of said there's a bit of a sports management traineeship opportunity available. So took that role on. He probably heard some good things from Ryan Martin, I think, who was
Yeah.
obviously one of the original Free Jacks coaches. And
Mhm.
yeah, I jumped, took the leap of faith, and took TK's opportunity, and now I'm running our academy and community side of things, which has been a really rewarding year and a half taking on that opportunity.
Mhm.
I think we've definitely made some big growth this year, which is exciting, particularly in the youth side of things. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Yeah.
Excellent. So happy to have you a part of the community here and the academies. Um, so the academies recently played a couple months back there at Fort Quincy, and I was in attendance. Anytime the Rangers out there have the opportunity to go see the academy play at Fort Quincy or anywhere in the area, I would highly, highly recommend that you do that. That is the Free Jacks of the future playing today. So definitely get behind the academies out there and support them any way that you can. But I wanted to ask you, during the season, you went to all of these schools because you're involved as the community coordinator nowadays for the Free Jacks. You went to Massachusetts and Rhode Island to introduce kids to playing rugby or teaching them the game, the basic fundamentals of it. Tell us about that initiative, how many schools and how many kids were actually shown the game of rugby over the past season.
Yeah, so the initiative's called Rugby in a Bag, which is sort of piggybacking off a initiative that USA Rugby launched a few years back called Rookie
Mhm.
Rugby.
Yep.
And the Free Jacks sort of took that on and made it a bit of their own, so to say. And the whole idea is to turn up with a bag of balls and some pennies and cones and get to as many schools as possible, and take a full day of PE classes within that school. And the whole idea really for me is just planting that rugby seed in these kids' minds. Like once you get the rugby ball in these kids' hands, you see the joy that the sport brings, and they want to learn more and more and more. So
Mhm.
that's what this year was about, just exposing as many new kids to the game as possible. And I think Mag said the numbers the other day. I think we reached 6,500 kids this year.
Wow.
Um, across all of our community and academy programs, which is awesome. And I think the big challenge for us now is to convert a lot of those kids into actually playing now. So
Right.
that's probably the big next step is every school that we go to, every kid that touches a rugby ball, how do we get them running around on the field in real life? So yeah, it's
Absolutely.
exciting.
It's extremely important as well because the Rugby World Cup is what, like 8 or 9 years away at this point. So
Yeah.
we got to get as many kids at the age group that you're dealing with right now exposed to rugby as possible and get a ball in their hand and really ignite that flame of their passion for rugby. So you're talking about the next step is really maybe to I would imagine usher those kids that are interested in the sport towards their local rugby teams. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly right. Like as you said, there's some fantastic youth programs out there already, and I can see
Hmm.
some folks on the stream like Daniel, who
Yes.
runs one in Rhode Island, which is
Yep.
great. So it's about pushing kids to those established programs, and then also building hubs in areas that don't have rugby programs. So
Right.
one that sort of frames to mind is Quincy. We don't have a youth rugby program based in Quincy, so
Right.
yeah, to build these little rugby hubs everywhere is what we need, and schools having after school programs. But really, it's about educating teachers around our beautiful game and educating volunteers around our sport so that they have the tools to go and start these things and deliver sessions.
100%. Now, normally, like, I guess people would say, well, the Free Jacks don't have to focus on that at this point, but the Free Jacks model is very, very much community based, right?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, the top tier of rugby in this country is MLR, and then the Free Jacks are on top of that pyramid as the champions and the best organization, as we know. But for them to focus on the bottom of the pyramid, if you will, the way that you build this thing up is very, very important to what they want to do, and it speaks volumes about this organization. They could just attract guys like myself and pull people in that are former rugby players and stuff like that to try to keep this thing going, but they really, really want to focus on the future. And I think that's very, very important. And we're seeing other organizations now kind of following in the footsteps that the Free Jacks, the trailblazers that they are, they're kind of following their model now because it just ultimately works out better in the end, wouldn't you say?
yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I think that's probably the one thing that drives me to stick around here is when you have an organization and people with those positive mindsets, like Mags, who literally just let
Mhm.
you go out and grow the game and get in the community as much as possible. So yeah, it's super exciting. And as you said, the Rugby World Cup's in 8 years' time, which in the grand scheme of things is not actually a long time. So
Right.
we've got to keep the ball rolling and yeah, keep getting into as many schools as possible. And it's sort of a win-win for us, really. Like every school that we go to, kids also learn that New England has a professional rugby team, and
Right.
hopefully they come along to Fort Quincy and see what the awesome atmosphere there's about. So there's so many wins for our organization doing this stuff.
100%. There's wins all around. It's almost like we can't get tired of winning around here. Like there's so many wins it's happening. It's not like it's getting old though, because I'm hoping that all these kids come to the games. We're expecting sellouts next season with the
Oh yeah.
championship that's taking place because people love a winner, man. Winners are grinners. So yeah, that's going to be fantastic. Looking forward to that for sure. But let's take a rewind. Let's hit the rewind button a little bit here. You
Sure.
do sideline reporting for the New England Free Jacks games at Fort Quincy. Give us your favorite post game interview. What was that exactly?
Oh, that's a great one. Good question. Favorite post game interview this year, I think it had to be the conference final with Mitch
Yeah.
Jacobson.
Yep.
Especially after last year, like this was the reversal and the ultimate feeling of joy, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
just to see the reactions, and see Mitch and the team lift up that Eastern Conference trophy,
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
front of fans like yourself, and just see the whole crowd get around it. I don't think anything would top that interview. To be fair, I was bloody nervous, to be honest. I had the microphone shaking in my hand, but yeah, managed to get it done. But no, it's great. Like it's cool to share those memories with the players. It's awesome.
100%. That was a great, great memory for Free Jacks out there. Probably one of the best memories so far. Obviously, the championship, hoisting that shield will forever be in the Free Jacks' minds. But that Eastern Conference win to get over, get that monkey off your back was definitely a huge deal. And Mitch Jacobson, what a fantastic leader he was for this team, stepping up after Josh Larson went down. Our boy Larry with a season-ending injury. His brother's going to be playing, as an All Black against our boys, LaRue and Conradi this weekend. So best
I don't know who to support.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's your New Zealand team, the All Blacks, where you're from, against our Namibian Warriors, our Free Jacks. So that's going to be a great, great game. I'm sure everybody out there is really, really excited to watch that one. But quick question for you. What's the wildest thing that you've seen on the sidelines during a game? Like, there's some chirping that goes on back and forth, I would imagine. Have you seen anything crazy take place? Something that you would not have expected on the sidelines?
Well, apart from Spider's shenanigans in the stands, it's hard to top the flamethrower and things that flamethrower that gets flown around all the time. But craziest thing I've seen on the sideline. That is a tough one, eh? Yeah, I'd say probably just the hostility of our New England fans, eh? Like you don't really get that back in New Zealand. Like you guys in a great way. Like I love it. You're just passionate and you're brutal and you're feeding it to their players. I remember when the Free Jacks, when we're warming up at Fort Quincy, like one of the fans came around the back of, it might have been Toronto or NOLA warming up, and he was just feeding it to them the whole warm up for like 40 minutes non-stop. And I'm like, heck yeah, this is why I'm in the game of rugby. Yeah. So probably that, just the absolute, brutalness of our fans. And it's all in moderation. It's all good stuff, really.
For sure. Like, rugby is about respect ultimately on and off the pitch, but at the same time, this area has just a bit of like, it's a tough, rough, the sports people around here are very, very passionate and they love their team and they don't like the other teams. And that's the thing I really, really enjoy about this area, man. It's like, we'll talk a little crap, about the opponents, and we'll make them feel uncomfortable to a certain extent when they come to Fort Quincy. And it's true. Like, it's a very, very intimidating atmosphere. We're undefeated, this past season for a reason. And that's the kind of stuff that we want to have going forward as the mentality and that reputation as a tough, tough place to play. And it all starts with the fans chirping, when the other team is warming up, man. It's that psychological game. Like, you're not wanted here. You know what I mean? It's so cool. Love that.
The fans give an extra edge. And as you said, like, rugby is a respectful game. And I think we never take it too far.
Right.
We never go too far down the line where things get borderline. We maybe push it at times, but it's brilliant. Like, it makes our stadium such a hard place to play for teams, doesn't it? And we saw that this year.
We were talking off there about our rival with Old Glory DC, who's been chirping a bit to us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it nowadays. Very interesting. Boy, we are in their head big time. We're living rent-free, Wills, in the heads of Old Glory DC, the official Twitter page, which is really crazy. But, that's really... Yeah, scandalous right there for sure. But I wanted to ask you, because in previous seasons, you were the mic man at Fort Quincy, where you had the microphone, you were, shouting out the crowd and stuff like that. Is that something that you miss now that you're doing sideline reporting at all?
Yeah, to be honest, it's actually a completely different dynamic. Like, there's a lot of, I guess, pre-match work that goes into the broadcast stuff. So we'd meet as a broadcast team a few days prior. You'd collect interviews from coaches and sort of plan your narratives and storylines heading into the game. Whereas I guess when you're just on the field with the mic, you're trying to hype the crowd and bring a bit of energy and fizz. So I think from a personal perspective, I really enjoyed that, I guess, professional development and experience this year, being on TV, and it's something that I definitely enjoy doing. But it's both got its pros and cons. Like, I feel like when you're hyping up the Fort Quincy crowd, it just gives you this massive adrenaline rush, doesn't it? Which you probably don't quite get on TVA when you've got I've got my AirPods in my ears. I can't really hear anything. I'm listening to the TV director, whereas, I hear 4,000 fans at the Fort fizzing the uppers. It's a pretty awesome feeling. But
absolutely. Yeah. We're going to miss you. And that Spider-Man get up, man. That was classic stuff right there for the superhero festival for sure.
It'll be back. It'll be back.
Love that. Love that for sure. Give us your overall impressions of the Jacks 2023 season. What was your overall thoughts on it?
Oh, it was a wonderful season, and we all know that we topped it off with the championship. But I think it was just a really well methodically planned out season, and I put that down to the work that TK and the coaches do to get everything right. And started way back in pre-season camp of what was it, January 2023 or December 2022? I can't remember. We had it when we got that initial group of Free Jacks together, and they had a 2-week slog with Scotty. And then they reassembled, went to Houston, and had an awesome week there. I know we went down to the Sabercats in that trip, but like that was something that we hadn't done before, and it was so crucial to get that time together. So I think looking back on that, those were real vital pieces in the cog. I thought the appointment of George Prochakos added a whole nother level to the way the Free Jacks operate, particularly off the field, but also on it as well, just recovery and things like that. So, overall, I think while 2022 was such a success, I think, TK and the coaches worked really hard to add in those missing pieces to take it that next step in 2023. And we did that. Like when it got to the conference finals, the boys were, I call it fitter, faster, stronger. Like we were in great shape. We were ready to go. Majority of the boys were healthy, and I think the overall vibe amongst the team, and I credit that to the Canadians coming in and adding that pizzazz, was just so good. Like there was never really, I guess, you sort of in 2022 you didn't have nerves, but you sort of had a little bit of uneasiness. Could this be our year? But this year just it felt right, and everyone just had smiles on their faces at all times, and it was just such a good buzz to be a part of. And I mean, there's a lot of work that I think we're going to miss Mike Rogers a lot. He did a lot of work, culturally with his different creative ideas to make sure the boys are connecting and synergizing as a team off the field. But no doubt, whoever TK's got in line for the next assistant coach will have plenty of tricks up his sleeve too. So looking forward to it.
Super excited about what took place, obviously, in 2023. But, looking back at 2022, as you were talking about, it was a pretty successful year, right? Getting to the Eastern Conference Championship. But what's really, really encouraging about this organization is they looked at the failures and said, how can we improve to be even better? And they implemented those, things that they thought would be good ideas to bring in George, get these Canadians in here to help out with that aspect, domestic talent, domestic North American talent, to bring those guys in here to help with the culture. All of that sort of stuff added up to a successful championship year in 2023. So all of that is extremely encouraging, and I'm really looking forward to see what happens going forward, because it's really, really crucial, obviously, to have that team culture. It's going to continue to set that standard in the locker room, that sort of stuff, because that's what really ultimately gets you across the line, is the love that you have for your teammates. That culture that's been built up is really, really important. So very, very encouraging stuff for sure. And we just hope to continue that success going forward. For sure. Favorite moment of the season? Was it the Eastern Conference Championship?
It'd have to be the championship final. It's hard to top that, right? I mean, I think the Eastern Conference was so special in itself because that was probably our best ever victorious moment in front of our home fans, right? And the aftermatch ceremony, and I think we had fireworks and things like that. That was awesome to share the memories of the home fans. But I mean, going to Chicago, I thought the Hounds and the MLR did a great job of
100%.
Putting on that spread, as I call it. We had Shaquille O'Neal, someone I just grew up watching on TV in the flesh, and then obviously to get the victory, wow, what a fantastic game, as you've probably talked about 1,000 times on the show already. We don't need to go in the game, but I think just the post-match celebrations, I mean, that's what I live for. Dropkick Murphys, and then we went out obviously as a team after, and you had the owners there. Never in a million years did I think I'd be having a beer with a Super Bowl champion,
right?
named even Patrick Chung, which is just so cool to say. But just to see the smiles on everyone's faces, and you can't write that off, can you? It's just such an awesome memory.
100%. Great atmosphere there in Chicago. They did a fantastic job, as you're saying. I mean, like Shaquille O'Neal opened it. What? Like
Yeah.
it's so crazy. That was so wild.
His
Oh,
hands could literally hold my body in one. He's a
no
big, big
doubt.
man.
Huge guy. We have to get him in the line out at some point. He wouldn't even have to jump.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, you recently mentioned on your appearance at Let Freedom Ring that Otago, which is where you're from, there in New Zealand, would be lucky to get 1,000 people in attendance. Rugby is the national sport of New Zealand. Why are people not showing up to NPC games, do you think?
Great question. Yeah, I mean, if you look back to 1998, and I'm using Carisbrook as an example at Otago, like you'd have 20 to 30,000 in the stand, and now, and I know this from literally working there the past couple of years, like we genuinely probably struggle to get just on or probably just over 1,000 to games, and I think a lot of it's probably due to TV, like
Right.
rugby's at a stage there now where almost every game in New Zealand, whether it be club or high school, is like on TV. So
Okay.
people would much rather sit in the comfort of their home than pay money to see a ticket and get down to the stadium and watch it there. But I think what's been really positive this year is quite a few provincial unions have decided to take their games to some of the club venues.
Okay. Yep.
And that's quite an expensive lift for a province to do because they need to build the infrastructure to televise games there. So, I think that's a really positive step they're taking. But yeah, I think that's got a big thing to do with it, like the television and also like in New Zealand now, you turn up to a rugby game and that's it, right? There's when you turn up to a game at Fort Quincy, you've got these wonderful food trucks, you've got the music, you've got things for the kids. Like there's so many other different elements that make it just more than a rugby game, and I think other teams around the league do that good as well, like San Diego. So, we don't really have that back home, and I know there's been a massive article out about the potential future of the NPC in New Zealand and the I guess scrutiny that it's under. So yeah, it's definitely pretty worrying to see that because that's the grassroots and the beating heart of New Zealand rugby. But to be honest, like a big part of it does come down to television and streaming games, and it's a big money maker, isn't it? TV.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And, the Free Jacks would be, or just MLR in general would be lucky to have, like 10% of the NFL TV revenue. Like we would be crawling on our hands and knees begging for that type of revenue coming in for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, it's great that it's available on all of the channels and stuff like that. But if you're ignoring the fan experience at games, people aren't going to show up. And that seems to be what's happening in New Zealand, which is really sad. And I hope that turns around for you guys because NPC is very, very important. Obviously for our guys that are up, that are rostered Free Jacks guys, whether it be development guys or just fully rostered guys, they can go down there and get full year-round professional rugby. That's so crucial, and learn how to play the game down there with those professionals, the guys that have been playing their entire life. So that's really, really important. That synergy that's been developing and that strategic partnership, very, very crucial. So we definitely want the NPC to be successful for sure. Next thing I wanted to ask you about is you were out in Austin, Texas about a month ago for the MLR Collegiate Draft representing the Free Jacks. I saw you with your Free Jacks polo on. Tell us about that experience out there. TK was not available. I think he was down in New Zealand at that point. So, what took place?
Yeah, TK and Scotty were having some well-earned family time back in their homelands. So I got the call up, which was pretty funny to be honest, because it was like all of the head coaches and the big wigs of every franchise, and then the MLR staff there, and then there was just me rocking in, which was pretty it was pretty awesome. But I had my little my polo, and I wore my Champions tee into the airport just to show them.
Nice.
That was cool. Nah, but it was actually a really let's put it interesting experience. It was as I said, we were sort of in the deserts of Austin, as I'd call it. I don't really know Austin as a city, but we're in the outback part of it, and all of us MLR staff or representatives of each team were crammed into a van and sort of driven up this dirt gravel road to a music studio, and it sort of felt like we were going to be executed, to be honest.
Wow.
It felt like a Saw movie. We were about to be trapped and fed to some evil creature. But it was in a sort of remarkable place, like a music studio in the middle of nowhere. all of the draftees, the top 13 picks got flown in, which was super special for them. Like they had no idea which team they were going to at that point in time. And then the live taping of the show happened, which was really well put together by the league. I thought it was great to have, as I said, all the representatives there. Funnily enough, our pick, Gabriel Casey, was actually in Tonga representing Canada. Yep. So I was there to shake Casper the Ghost's hand. So, nice. I was literally there to show face, but it was cool to connect with all of the new representatives of each team. Like Utah has a new general manager, and met the Miami Sharks CEO, general manager. So that was cool to sort of form connections with them, and meet some of the major league staff as well, who I hadn't come face to face with before. So, but yeah, I mean, a great experience for the kids to have their name read out, live on TV, and that's the first step in their professional journey, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be cool to watch their careers develop. I know someone like Matt Antisev, who's represented our academy before, going to LA. Yeah, it's going to be cool to watch him.
Absolutely. It's so cool to see those guys, coming up through the ranks and being able to get drafted and play in the MLR. Very, very cool experience for them and their families. But did you pull any pranks on Stephen Lewis, the GM of New York, or anybody else while you were there? Like any whoopee cushions while he was sitting down or anything?
That's a great question. I actually, I formed quite a close bond with Steve on this trip, actually. I went out with him and Rick Salizo for brunch. So, and Rick recently left his role with New York, so he was on his way to London. So, had a wee brunch with Rick and Steve, and just tried to pick their minds on what New York's trying to do for 2024.
Excellent.
But no, I always enjoy giving Steve Lewis the Lizard a little bit of stick. he's
so damn charming. It's easy to hate New York, but it's hard to hate him, man. He's great.
No silly tricks. I should have maybe snuck a laxative in his pancakes or his coffee or something. But yeah, maybe next time.
Next time for sure. Yeah, absolutely. What's your take on the three draft picks by the Free Jacks? Obviously, you mentioned Gabriel, who is our first round pick there, Canadian international already. So what's your take on these guys?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think first of all for Gabriel, like, it's pretty rare that you get a draft a guy that's already had international experience, right? Like, I mean, that's very rare. So that experience for Gabriel would have done him a world of wonders in his development as a player. So I think it's really good for Scott. It gives him plenty of options across the back line. He's a versatile and he's a utility player. So that'll be good to see where he fits into our back line. And Junior Guffer is one that really excited me, and I was actually really pushing for him to come to New England. I think he's got massive potential. I've seen him play a number of times. He's played for our independents. He's played for our collegiate all stars, and obviously he's representing Brown. So he's got a football background. He's extremely physical. I think physically he's there as an MLR player. He's ready to go, and now Scott's going to get him into the mix and get his skill development going and his rugby IQ up to standard of what it takes to be a Free Jacks player. So I look forward to seeing his development. And Will Chevalier, Chevy, I love the nickname.
Yeah, hell yeah, like a rock, baby.
Yeah, he actually played at our Sevens tournament, which I didn't realize. The Free Jacks hosted the Monumental Sevens, and I remember watching him play for Indiana, and I was like, "Who's this kid carving up?" And soon enough, when the draft came around, he turned out to be in that draft and also a USA Eagles squad member. So
incredible, right? Already experienced with the USA Sevens program, which is really, really incredible. Like, for us to get a guy that's capped for Canada and a guy that's in the building with USA Rugby Sevens in a draft, like TK's just running circles around these people. Like, he's just dunking on them, dude. It's so funny to watch.
He is. He's getting the and ones, But no, I mean, it just shows it comes down to doing your homework. And I think Will Chevalier was quite a late entrance into the draft. So we pounced on that pretty quickly. And I mean, it's going to be brilliant to have all three of those guys in our environment. I know, there's some things coming up that'll look to get them, I guess, exposed to our environment nice and early, which will be super cool for them to experience a bit of Boston.
Yep. I know last year you got in touch with some guys that went undrafted that were very, very like had a bit of potential, and you
Yeah.
guys brought them in for I think the preseason training type stuff. Is that something that you're doing as well this year, getting in contact with those guys?
Yeah, definitely. It's a really good point you make. Like one of those guys, Chandler Owens, we brought in, and he's now starting for Mystic in the ARP.
Yep.
And that's off the back of that initiative. So trying to get those guys that didn't quite get drafted but still have potential ceilings and
Mhm.
potential, a lot of potential in rugby into our environment. And yeah, it's good to see someone like Chandler flourishing. But I know we're looking to have a camp at the end of the year, as they usually do, and we'll be definitely reaching out to try and get some of those guys that were on the cusp to come along and get some experience.
Excellent. I think that's very, very good ideas from this organization to bring those guys in because there's some,
Yeah,
there's some hidden gems, if you will, or unpolished diamonds that didn't get
yeah,
drafted, right? So you get those guys through the door, identify them, keep them around, keep them under your wing as a development player, perhaps. Like talk to these guys, like get a job. You can be part time with the Free Jacks. Come train with us every once in a while, and we'll have your number. If somebody goes down, you will get you right into the program. So I think that is so smart by the
yeah.
organization to do that. Let's switch gears here and talk about the Shield Tour real quick that's been going on. You've done some locations. What locations have been done so far, and where will the rest be coming up soon?
Yeah, nice. So we obviously started the Shield Tour at our home stadium, which was cool, and we had the parade.
Yep.
That was pretty awesome.
Heck yeah.
And then we sort of, I guess, the stars aligned, and we already had our RTGs planned, our regional training group sessions, which are our tracking days that we hold for our academy. So
Yep.
we combined the Shield into that to give, I guess, a bit of extra juice.
Mhm.
And the first one was in Hartford, West Hartford, Connecticut, which was super awesome. And I
Mhm.
think we've done a really good job this year to align with clubs in the area to make sure that we're tapping into their networks and also hitting their community breweries and their community sponsors to take the Shield there when we're in the area. So essentially, what the academy events are is they're ways for us to identify potential talent for our academy sides in a nutshell. And I was blown away by the talent that we had in Hartford. We went to Keene the week after that in New Hampshire, and
Mhm.
did a session with a majority of the Keene State College boys, and I couldn't believe it. Like you
Nice.
mentioned it earlier, that there's some gems, and I think there's plenty of gems in New England. Like I
Love it.
think there's plenty of boys out there that just need time in the saddle and time in a environment with some different coaching and some different opinions and different developments. So
Mhm.
now's the task for us to get those boys to us and a bit of time within our academy system.
Absolutely. So what you're doing is, you're showing off the championship, but you're also identifying potential talent at
Yeah.
these regional training groups that could be moved in or funneled into the academy system and then kind of work their way up, which is very, very cool to see.
Yeah, so we've had that. So that's the afternoon session, and then in the morning, it's a new thing that brought in this year called a youth masterclass,
Okay.
and essentially it's a 90-minute session for kids that are under the ages of 15. And the whole idea around the youth masterclass is to provide a little bit of upskilling on the key fundamentals of rugby. So age appropriate skill development. So just having a look at some tackle technique, catch pass, some decision making, and just seeing where we can give individual feedback to players and upskill players in those areas. And I think it's really important while kids are at that age that they get that level of development. So Josh Larson, Free Jacks captain, Wayne
Mhm.
Vanderbank, Tavita Sole
Yep.
have been, with me in the Red Free Jacks van coming around to these regions. And, I think there's no better feedback to get than from players themselves, right? So it's pretty special for those participants to hear feedback personally from the players, I think.
Absolutely. You're getting, feedback from professional players and it's free, right? Like, what better way to, show off your skills and then get feedback from guys that have been there and done that. It's really, really cool what you guys are doing, going all across New England, showing off the championship and then,
Yeah.
identifying these talented youngsters and also, throwing some stuff out there, running through some drills. I think it's awesome. Very, very cool stuff.
We're
Uh,
in
mhm.
Vermont this week. Come on down.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Vermont.
so
Love it.
I forgot to mention, yeah, we're in Burlington on this Sunday, so we're staying in Hanover, Dartmouth on Saturday night.
Yep.
So if anyone wants the shield at their local establishment, feel free to reach out
Hell
in,
yeah.
in exchange for a pint of Guinness.
That's a pretty good exchange right there.
No, I've had Bozo Six will no doubt be into the DMs now, trying to get it to his place. But yeah,
Absolutely. Yep. You know, he's already typing up something right now to try to get a little pit stop for the Shield to drop by the old
nice.
granite bunker, as we call it. Final thing for you here, Wills. I wanted to go through a couple of questions that came in from our listeners, the Rangers out there and viewers. What is it like to be the face of rugby in New England? That is from Chris.
That's a huge statement. Wow. I don't know about that. No, I don't know about that. No, it's no, honestly, like I think it's really rewarding. Like I think I think if you cast my mind back when I was in New Zealand, I didn't think I'd be doing this, and I'm extremely grateful to have the opportunity to do it. And it's certainly not an easy role. I think people see this stuff on social media and the fun stuff on the microphone and getting into schools, but I think like a lot of work, not just from myself but the other staff, like goes into making those things happen and planning around that. So no, but super grateful to get out in the community. Like it's a pretty cool job if you're just out meeting people every day, and you get a change of scenery Monday to Friday, or Monday to Sunday, should I say. And get to see some wonderful places and meet people with different backgrounds and stories. So yeah, it's great. Like it's honestly, words probably can't put it to fruition. Like it's a dream.
Yeah, you're doing a fantastic job as well. So, pat yourself on the back in that aspect. We got one from Oliver, your coworker, coming in here. Ask Wills who is his favorite colleague. Who's your favorite colleague?
Alicia, no, I don't pick favorites.
Excellent political answer there.
Nah, they're all great in their own respects. I've got a soft spot for each and every single one of the Free Jacks members of staff. I think it's good. Like everyone's so unique in their own ways, and everyone's got their own skill sets. Like Ollie's a whiz at creating things. He can do many other things. So I probably haven't done justice to that, but and then you've got like the brains of Mags, which I haven't even worked out yet, but I'm learning day by day. It's brilliant. I said when Mags passes in 40 years' time, I want him to donate all of his brain power to me.
There you go. Yeah, for sure. Like we could all use a little bit of Mags's brain power for sure, man.
His DNA. But obviously I've got a soft spot for my Kiwis. There's only one with me at the moment, TK. Yeah, no place like home.
100%. We got one final question here for you. When it comes to being great, how challenging is it to stay humble when it comes so easy? That's also from Chris.
Geez, Lynn G, you're going nuts on the comments tonight. That's great. Well, it doesn't come easy, so that's probably point one. It certainly doesn't come easy. I mean, like one of the Free Jacks values is staying humble. Like they typically don't hire people that aren't very humble or players that aren't very humble. Like I think a good example is when we score a try, we're back to halfway and it's on to the next job. And I think that's the same thing like with us. Like we just had a music festival that finished, like that's done. All right, what's the next job? Like we're constantly focused on, how can we improve and how can we make this thing as good as it can be? And that's happening right now. Like we had a massive staff call on Wednesday about our 2024 festivals and all the little bits and bobs that are going to go into planning those, and we're in September now and the season's only just finished a couple of months ago. So like, we're just onto it, into the next job, Chris.
Humble, hardworking, and fun is the mantra of the Free Jacks, and that is definitely Wills in a nutshell there. Just final thing before we get you out of here, your opinion of Old Glory DC as an organization and as a brand. What do you got for them?
Jeez, am I going to be public enemy number one on that?
No, I'm public enemy number one.
You're public enemy number one. No, I've got nothing too bad. They've never personally affected me. Any team, I don't really have a grudge for any team in the league. No one's really done anything bad to affect me. I can understand the Boston New York rivalry. I get the feeling out of that one, but DC is good. I see they've changed. I'll give them a positive. They've changed to a grass field next year, which I just looked at the complex on Google Maps. That's nice. I think rugby should be played on grass. I'm a massive pioneer for that. I want to start a fan page. Obviously, it's tough to come by in New England given the conditions that we get in the winter, but Yeah, the color scheme thieves. I see you guys jacking it up on Instagram, so I'll give you a bit of love.
Appreciate that. And any message for the Rangers out there before we let you off the arrow here?
No, have a good Christmas when it comes around, and recharge your batteries, refill your glasses, because we're going again in 2024, and I want to see everyone at the home opener, rain, hail, snow, sunshine,
Absolutely.
blizzards, because it's going to be a cracking opening day. I know we've got some really special things planned to sort of cap off what 2023 brought, but now get your season tickets. I know they're out selling now. Like, yeah, jump on the train, because it's going up.
Yep. Love it, Wills. Thank you so much for being on here. We're going to say one word to exit the video in 3, 2, 1. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Woo! Thank you, buddy.
Beauty.
Appreciate you. Bye.